Quite an interesting week, a week where we've seen a lot of happenings. We've seen the Gen Z on the streets of Nairobi, and we've seen many issues, the looting, the impact of maandamano. But this week, we want to discuss even deeper issues. I'm your host, CEO Charles Otieno, alongside the usual suspects, minus the others you know. But today we have a wonderful lady with us.
Hi.
Introduce yourself.
Good evening, viewers. My name is Wanja Maina. I am a very active citizen, and I'm happy to be here.
Karibu sana Wanja. Wanja, what do you do?
I would say that currently I'm running a young people-led non-profit called the Hummingbird Grassroots Center. And from time to time, my services are involved, especially on areas of development communication, rapporteuring, consultancies. So that's my academic background and also what I do from time to time.
Oh, karibu sana Wanja. This is not the first time anyway, so viewers have already seen you with your views.
Yes.
Maria.
Yeah. It's interesting that I see you around so much, and I'm happy that you're here with us. So
Thanks,
I am Maria Nyambane Waweru. I am so happy to be here again. Yes, it's an interesting show, and it's been a very, very eventful week. Please stay tuned and hear more, please.
So the other time, Maria, you remember we were talking that the revolution shall not be televised. Jill
Yeah.
Scott Heron. And you saw the maandamano, and you saw the invasion of parliament. And the youth actually occupied parliament.
Yeah, they did.
Just a week after the occupation of the parliament, this you could see that recently the SRC decided to publish the salary increment of all members of parliament, governors, the president. Yet, the country is in a very bad mood where they are saying, let's cut excess spending so that we can live within our means. Is it austerity? And most questions Kenyans are asking, are they really broke, Wanja? Are we really broke if SRC would just make a bow turn after 12 hours? What, did they know this would happen at that time?
Certainly, everybody doubted the power of the Gen Zs. They were made fun of. They were told that they are detached from the realities. After all, they use an Uber, they eat chicken, they are just coming to the maandamano with an iPhone as if to show that they are young people who have no sense of direction. So far from the truth, because what we saw, especially on June 25th, was a coherent message, was a lot of digital social media organizing. No doubt that many of us now would even tell how uncomfortable the government and the state was. We are saying that the government cannot stand organize young people, so they used the goonzis, the bad guys, the goonzis, to harass the Gen Zs. So for the Gen Zs, I heard them saying, we are not out, it's just a tactical retreat, but the message is home. Are we broke? Many of us, even through observation, even through observing senior government officials going to Harambes and giving millions in cash, can tell us that we think that we don't have a cash flow problem, we have an expenditure problem, we have a wastage problem. You can see a lot of unnecessary travel. You can see that the government would want us to exercise austerity as individuals, but they are not leading by example. You know, CEO and Maria, yesterday when we were talking, and you know some of us are villagers for real, talk to a farmer. If you have a goat, any farmer will tell you that if you want the goat to remove more milk, you don't milk it more. You give it food, chakula, you give it water, you talk to it nicely. If you go to farms in South Africa, they even put music for the cows so that they can remove milk. So in the case of Kenya, it seems like the government wants to milk the quote-unquote the cow harder so that it can remove the milk, and they forget that they need to feed the cow more. And that is what the business people are saying. The Gen Zs are saying we are not getting job and equal opportunities. So it has been a cocktail, really.
Nice.
We are not broke. We are okay. We are really okay, because if the finance bill would have passed now, it would be we now are getting more than we should. Actually, it's a grid strategy, I would say, because we are trying to find so much money for ourselves, but not for the common person. Remember, it's the same country that people are going hungry. It's the same person that people are not affording school fees. It is the same country that people are not getting even the simple basic needs that they need. But it's also the same country that people with excess salaries are getting their salaries. While businesses are closing down, while people are not getting their pays, but they still want to make more money for themselves. So I feel like it's like you've said, an expenditure problem, but also a greed problem, whereby if they thought of these people that they're trying to milk so hard to give them money, it would have been easier for them to strategize a way to tell themselves first, this was a wrong move. However, it will be a way to bring unity back to them. Like, let's now bring back our unity as the entire parliamentarians and everyone everyone up there, because we were not okay, we were divided. Even so, some people even apologizing with their wives. So right now they have to come up and at least bring back their unity. And what best way to do that than to add more money to the people?
I think unity is good, but my issue has always been that the impact. SRC, this budget was passed last year when they knew that they had slated for increment of all the salaries. But the issue is, you look at the environment, you're going to do such and such pay rise and realize that people are on the streets. Yeah. Why are people on the streets? It's because the impact is that they do not have finances to run their affairs. And I think the problem we've had for a very long time in this country is detachment from reality. Our financial reality and our physical reality do not. And you see, we have a budgetary problem and we have a good physical budget. A physical budget is when you plan without the money, but the budgetary problem is what money comes in. So we say this is what we will do, and that's why the president talks about tumetenga. You see, the first thing they would have realized is that Kenyans do not want to be taken for a ride.
Yeah.
You do not want to take a Kenyan for a ride anymore. One, their kids are they're out of school. The university has become too expensive for them to take kids. We have a ballooning Gen Z population who do not have jobs but are properly educated. Yet, the government still sits pretty, and you could see from that moment, all the sirens and opulence is gone. From one demonstration, the opulence, if you drive in the streets nowadays, you cannot see those ministers driving on the wrong side anymore.
Yeah.
You can't see the ministers are driving incognito without flags. Single vehicle, not 10 vehicles, all
with
fueled by
sirens and
taxpayers' money.
Yes. Harassing other traffic, other road users, getting you out of the way. Really, for me, I would say that just the way really you said that Kenya, and even Maria, you said Kenya, really we don't have a money problem. And when you talk about even budgets and the monies that are being kutengwa, we have also started talking about budgeted corruption, whereby you would see funny figures like 800 million undisclosed expenditure or something. Then you are like, what is this that is so secretive that can be given 800 million? And thanks to technology and the innovation of young people, they were taking a certain figure from the budget and then they were breaking it down to what that figure can do. Say, for example, 800 million. It can build 10 hospitals. It can educate 100 marginalized girls. It can pay all clinicians in the whole country. And you could just see really the detachment. And as you've just put, the government's detachment with the realities of the people, but also their tone-deaf kind of approach. It is as if to show that the masses or the Kenyans are not to be consulted, they are not to be listened to. And this is actually reflected even by top government officials. Take an example of our deputy president when he was addressing from Mombasa. He said that we should be gentle on our MPs, tuwasamehe, walifanya vile government ilikuwa inataka, in his own words. Then the question is, MPs, ideally they should be independent of the executive and the judiciary. It should be an independent arm of government. And then ideally, because we have public participation and talking with the people, ideally they should listen to the people who are saying, ni kama tumelambwa. And that detachment and looking down upon average Kenyans is reflected even in how they treat them. Look at Mathare, for example, which is like among the large informal settlements. You remember we had floods like 2 months ago or 1 month ago, you remember. There was a promise that we shall move you from near the river, and then we shall give you 10,000. Okay, it's kidogo, but it's better than nothing. Were they given? No. Then these same people are like, mnatanga 800 million for no disclosure. Anybody can use it for anything.
But I would ask, they are putting 800 million and undisclosed. I feel like they shouldn't have mentioned it, because on normal occasion, they take those millions and we don't find out.
Yeah.
It's like despising you to your face. Like, now we are taking this and you should not ask us why. It's more like abuse of power.
That's it.
Because they know that we see the corruption, we see the money being taken for nothing. We see all these things that are happening. Why would you just come now mention it publicly that I'm taking all this for non-disclosed, and we already know there are a lot of money that goes non-disclosed and we don't know.
And we don't know really.
So even beyond saying non-disclosed, and we'll move to the next topic, I think the government and the people, what Kenyans should press for, is that people should return stolen money.
Yes.
You cannot have a CS in 2 years has bought a house in Karen worth 100 million, has invested in Dubai, money, you're being arrested with 200 million in an airport. You cannot. It is total madness for a country where we are claiming that we do not have enough funds to do physical projects for the Mwananchi. Yet, 2 months, 1 year down the line, all the MPs are struggling, and the governors. The biggest culprit are actually the Northern Kenya governors, where they have not, for those 10 years of devolution, there's nothing those counties can show for the millions and the billions they've received. Yet all those governors, or former governors, have buildings in Dubai, they've built everywhere. Look at the Migori issue, where the former governor was taken to court for 1.9 billion, and the court just clears him for 250 million. That money belonged to Migori people. So Migori people have a right to tell the former governor to return their money. We cannot be sitting every day talking about people who have taken public money, yet those people are walking free in the streets. In fact, if I was for the Gen Zs, the best thing they would have done is to occupy their homes. Just go occupy their former governor's home, make sure that he repays the money they stole with his kids.
Yeah.
Go to the northern counties, occupy their homes, ask them, you've spent almost 10 billion. There's nothing to show for the billions which are taken to the counties. Yet Kenyans are still sleeping hungry, schools are not developed, there's no proper medical care. Women, even the Linda Mama, and that's why those small young girls are saying, you don't want us to have even what? Menstrual?
Yeah, products. Actually, there's a connection between corruption and death and social ills, including addictions. Imagine sasa the Gen Z, you've said they are well educated, and then they are hopeless. Isn't that how young people end up in drugs and those kind of social ills?
And mental issues.
You know, these kind of inequalities that are exacerbated by corruption. Take, for example, the issue of Linda Mama. So you have a lot of money on one side, but on the other side, women who ordinarily would not afford to give, they had some form of insurance, cannot go to the hospital. So what does that mean? Immediately, there will be the return of quack midwives. Now, quack midwives wakicharge 500 ama 1,000, we also know that they don't have specialized medical care. For seeing cases of children who have diseases and disabilities that could be prevented. For seeing women sustaining so many issues. But I'm also seeing lack of consulting the women. Say, for example, with this new SHIF that they are saying they are going to introduce, they're saying that for a normal delivery, it's 11K. For a CS delivery is 32K. But if you listen to the women seriously, they'll tell you, when you're pregnant, you don't know whether it will be a normal delivery, whether it will be a CS.
Yeah.
So the fact that you are making policies for women, even if you don't know their lived realities, just tell you then there is a huge disconnect between the people who are being ruled and the people who are ruling each other. And this form of uprising is just about inequality. And you know, the other day, like 2 days ago, there was the Maina Wajigi's memorial service. And I had two politicians, that's Honorable Martha and Honorable Rengo, they were saying, we remember Maina Wajigi because he used to defend the people of Moroto, which was a slum just near town.
It was in Machakos bus stop.
Machakos bus stop.
Yeah, next to Machakos bus stop where Moroto was.
And the story is told that, and probably you know it better, maybe you covered this as a journalist. It all started when government officials, pro-Kanu officials, people who didn't think that the poor people have the right to live in the city, started demolishing their house, and that brought a whole political movement. I'm foreseeing this form of uprising, I'm foreseeing mandamanos, and even when you say that the young people will not go to the streets, there's a lot of digital mandamano, digital protest, there's a lot of files and a lot of tea. So for me, I think it would be ignorant to dismiss them and the form of activism that is ongoing.
Thank you, Anja. And I want us to move to the second story.
CEO, before we go to that, let's take a short break and we'll be right back on Let's Be Real. Welcome back. I know you're enjoying the show so far. And yes, I know the topics are heavy, but I also know that this panel is breaking them down the best way they know how. So, CEO.
No, I was just looking at the government and
Yeah.
the way we are totally out of touch with the realities on the ground, and the way our physical and budgetary allocations are totally warped. But also, Wanja had talked about Linda Mama and the amount of money which for delivery, the normal delivery and the cesarean section. And I was asking that if we are bringing a new insurance, SHIF, to take over NHIF, and NHIF has been bedeviled by so many issues. First of all, this week, out of nowhere, the minister, who I believe should not be running that ministry, tells us that 368 million shillings disappeared as typing errors. Typing errors. You have competent people running an organization, yet you have almost 500 million of typing errors. Then the other week they had said that most government of hospitals were billing ghost bills, and there was a lot of money which were paid which did not belong to the same hospitals. Who is fooling who, Wanja or Maria?
Let me first speak from a personal story. When I was giving birth to my firstborn, at that time, NHIF covered everything. And I remember at that time I was admitted in Kenyatta Hospital. You know, you don't know when you go to give birth. Like you don't have this idea of I'm going there. Every woman's dream is I get in, have my baby, go out within 24 hours, that they say. But then if it's CS, you walk in, you're supposed to come out after 48 hours. But then again, there are situations whereby a baby develops complications. So in that case, you're not going to go home. You're going to sleep on the hospital bed because you're taking care of your child. And now you become 2 patients instead of 1. Now, when the government gives us that little amount to cover for that, then it means this does not even show being heartless. Actually, it means that I think incompetence is one, and another thing is maybe they didn't do their research properly and realize that as women, we always say that going to that hospital and coming out healthy and okay with your child is already a miracle. Now you are forcing us to go there, and then we are going to pay you only this amount. It's depressing enough to go through the experience. Now you are giving us a certain, and it's not like there's no money, because you won't tell me that almost 1 billion was a typing error for one time. Like I just typed that whole amount once. So it's been people looting slowly by slowly by slowly. But you, instead of focusing on that problem that is there, you are here coming to attack innocent people and trying to show them that you know more about the delivery than they do. And this is where we come and realize that this generation is going to have a problem even when it comes to delivery. We are still going to be crying of high infant mortality rate. At this rate, we are going to be crying about that. And it's not nice because it's torture to both the mother and the families that are going to lose their babies. We are going to be crying about women having fear of even walking to those hospitals. The incompetence of you taking health money. Okay, we've seen every other sector is touched, but can we at least leave health? Especially this one that is working so hard to give birth so that people can vote for you. Just NHIF should not be something that you joke with. And this shift that they are bringing, if the rules are going to affect the health of the people or how people are going to be treated in hospitals, then I feel like we should have worked with the previous one that we had. And I said this on this show again, saying that some changes are not necessary. It's improvement that we needed. It's not a change.
Actually, Maria, if I could come in, I think that a name is still, what is in a name?
Yeah.
A name is still a name. Whether we'll call it Maria Care, Wanja Care, CEO Care,
Still the
NHIF, even if we call it a carrot or a potato, for me, I think the change of name is neither near nor there. It is just the major issues around health in Kenya. First, health is a devolved function in Kenya. However, let me give you a perfect example. I heard that in Kiambu District Hospital, in Kiambu Town, they usually say that there are a lot of patients who come to that hospital from Nairobi.
Yeah.
Then you have to ask yourself, why is it that when I'm sick, here we are in Imarandaima, I go from here to town to Kiambu to access hospital? And one would say that it's probably because I perceive that place to have better healthcare for me and my family, probably cheaper, probably more faster than here. And for me, I think for us to solve the issue of health before even we talk about those new names, it is to ask ourselves, is there any form of uniformity or at least a standard? You know, it seems like for them, there's no standard whatsoever. Anybody does whatever they want. You know, there should be at least a bare minimum that if I go, I'll be treated within 10 minutes, I'll be respected, I'll not be told there's no medicine, and then I'll be sent to a private particular pharmacy. I've had those experiences where I go to a hospital, and then you're told, when you find your X-ray in this particular place, one could tell that it's a private business they collaborate with. But also something else that I notice in this shift, this change thing, for me, it's really you know, sometimes when I go to a hotel, for me, let's say I've gone to a hotel here, and I know the owner, these small cafe places, I usually feel good when I see the owner eating the food that I'm eating.
Yeah.
There's a way to know, mama, anakusawa na kuchekesha lakini akula chapati. And then, I've never seen our government officials at the public hospitals that are here. Their children do not go to the schools that we go to here in Imaradaima or Bagathi or Kibera. So the question is, this person is cooking the food, but he can't eat it, and their children cannot eat it. Then be asked the question, how bad is it that they are making policy for something they cannot even dare consume? For me, that's where it doesn't tie, because if it's good healthcare system, your SHIF, universal healthcare, we should be seeing them consuming those services. If they can't, then for me, I think they don't care.
You remember when we were having the last government, when the hospital equipment were being taken to the various hospitals, and one of them was taken to one of the counties in the Rift Valley, and a private hospital there was surprised and wanted to go and check whether they can collaborate and be sending now patients to that. The government has brought even superior machines, because you see, when guys go to bid for the machines, incidentally, the government, the county government, had ordered specifications for a high-tech machine, but bought a very low-quality machine, so that the corruption was budgeted for there. The way you know that you want a machine for 3 million, but you buy for 500,000. But the specifications or specifics for that machine indicates that it's a 3 million machine for patients. And after some time, you know, even the most corrupt countries in the world, the only thing they don't play with is health. Because they know health, you do not know where you'll get sick. You can get an accident in the middle of nowhere. That's why all those far-flung hospitals must be properly equipped. So now, the gentleman who bought that machine, the way we say, "Kama always buy it back," bought a low-quality machine, and then he collapsed. Now, that machine could not help him because could not function the way it was. It is of a poor quality. He had to be rushed all the way to Nakuru. And by that time, he was just fighting for his life. So people were asking him, if you could have bought the right machine for the healthcare for the people in the villages, you would not even gotten into that bad situation because you'd have just walked in and gotten treatment. So my problem is that in Kenya is the only place where people even steal things which are meant for them in hospitals. Remember that sickness does not choose where you fall sick.
Yes.
Yeah.
You cannot claim that every day you are in a political rally in the middle of nowhere, yet you are the person running that county, and you bought poor quality machine for healthcare. Then you hope that you'll be flown to Nairobi. Before you reach Nairobi, you'll be dead. Before you reach Kisumu, you'll be dead. Before you reach anywhere else with a level 5 or 6 hospital, you'll be dead. So they have to make sure that, and that's why they need to make sure that hospitals are functional, properly functional. And then the insurance must also be functional, because even that minister, even that government official should realize that he can fall sick and the insurance that he wants to use to con people might be under without money. So when you are trying to lie to Kenyans that you're moving from NHIF to SHIF, and you tell us that 368 million has disappeared and typing error, then I know that you are just budgeted for corruption, and that money was taken by somebody, and it has to be repaid. The government should not be playing with that lip service for a very long time on matters of health. KEMSA, every year, there's a scandal. Every year, KEMSA, even now they have a new board. By next year, I will tell you there'll be another scandal of medicine there. Our hospitals don't have medicine, yet Kenyans are being told that we're running a perfect economy. Well, some MPs are going to donate 60 billion, 5 million, 10 million, and wearing watches which can educate a whole village.
And you know, when you say that there is a typing error of 380 million, you juxtapose that to a country where clinical officers walikuwa na mgomo, hata sidhani imeisha, ni clinical officers ama ni clinicians.
Yes, clinicians.
You juxtapose that with a country where madaktari walikuwa wamegoma for a very long time until their CBA, na bado wanasema some terms have not been honored. You also now hear those stories of women giving birth at home, anatembea anazaa mtoto kwa barabara because of lack of hospitals. Then you are like, those things, you know, even it's like a movie really. How can that happen? And that issue of budgeted corruption, it is so pervasive that there's the controller of budget or something, Nyakango.
Yes,
even
Margaret.
herself, she said that if the budget, her salary is budgeted thrice the amount.
Yes.
Then I'm like, even the one who is your prefect, pia yeye mpaka bado mnamfanyia budgeted
I
corruption.
think this time wanaona pesa mingi, it's shocking to them. Like, there's just too much money for us to steal and take home. They're even shocked because they are given the freedom to do that. Because if they knew how much other people are suffering down there, they will not be bragging. Because right now they are outright bragging about what they have. No one is even hiding their wealth anymore. Because if Kenyans were able to spot expensive watches, that means we are seeing everything. We are seeing the many cars and the buildings. And they are showing it. It's like show off of your pain. I'm laughing at you while you're down. That's what they're doing.
You know, Maria, before we go for a break, it's what we call the bandit economy. The bandit economy where you eat other people's sweat and you just continue living. One day it catches up with you. It's like a story of a tick and a cow. Most of the ticks do not realize that the cow is almost dying. And Kenyan government officials and the people who are doing this massive corruption, for a very long time, before the Gen Z uprising, they didn't know that they were just stick feeding on other people's blood. So that when you see the way cows behave, and there's always that stupid tick, the cow has been slaughtered or is dead, and it is still stuck on the pig, on the hide, until one day it realizes there's nothing coming out. And the Kenyans have reached that position where these corrupt individuals will realize that there's nothing coming out anymore. And that's why Gen Zs are telling us we must fight for what is rightfully ours.
And in a country whereby a lot of people are financially educated and they know what budgeting and savings are, yet paying tax is illegal, we need to know where their money is going to. Please stay tuned as we take this short break and we'll be right back.
Well, I think welcome back. We took a short break and finances, money, corruption.
Seriousness.
Let's take it to a lighter topic for the public there now. Maria.
Yeah, we need to take it lighter. So a very handsome man, a 93-year-old handsome man.
That's an old man.
He is handsome.
He could be a Gen Z at heart, you know?
Yeah, he is actually, because he's
93 must be the great generation, or is it not even a baby boomer?
Yeah.
Okay, at least he's not a before Christ kid. So this one claims that in order for someone to be happy in marriage, they should lower their expectations. Yes, I know this is where CEO says that polygamy is okay. But if I look at him, the last time he was married was long time ago. So I think he didn't find anyone who was willing to lower his expectations. So CEO, what do you think about this handsome
Definitely,
man?
people must lower their expectation.
What?
You see, if you do not lower your expectation, then you will live a very mechanical life. You see, I always tell people that men and women, when we go for the first date, there's a lot of pretense. There's a lot of people who want to tell you this is who I am before you realize the level where they actually are. So if you go with that first date belief that that's what you're getting into, or even for 1 month or 2 months, where you're going to eat in all the swanky hotels, you're coming at home, and you forget your managu, you're eating chicken wings every day, you are drinking expensive drinks. It is not reality. That is when you're wooing someone. And even women put up a show. So now, what has happened is that after 1 or 2 years, you get into your level. But if you walked into that relationship thinking this man is there, and life is a journey. Things change. Today you have, tomorrow you don't have. And if you stick to the work plan that I married a man who has this money, our vacation is slated for these times, we cannot eat this, and then you realize a disease comes in and wipes all the resources, number one. Secondly, you lose your business. Number three, you either lose your job or you live with a condition which alters your life. You'll see that whatever you signed for is not what you're getting. So that's why I say you must always lower your expectation, because when you're walking into that marriage, you believe this is what you'll have. But environment will always take a toll on you. And what happens at that time? So if you had not measured and thought of all these things when you're getting married, you'll have a very difficult time sticking there. Because you're saying, I married this woman, she was beautiful. She was very shapely and all that. Then she gives birth and her shape goes. If you're a man, will you leave her and you tell her, oh, even the gym is not working, I didn't sign for it. So you lower your expectation and you say, this is what I have signed for. So lowering expectation, if you don't want to die of depression, just lower your expectation.
There is what we call lowering expectations, and then there is lowering them to the point whereby someone becomes toxic, whereby you know you're supposed to do something, but I should lower my expectations because you forget when you want to, you don't prioritize me. So if I'm there and I'm not important, where am I there in marriage? And then you tell me that's how marriage will work. Next thing I know is we drifted, we are apart, we are not even talking anymore because I'm not there, you're not there, because I lowered my expectations. So I would feel like there should, even if I'm lowering my expectations, yes, I'm not coming to a fairy tale. I know you're not going to bring me flowers every day or light candles everywhere for me. That's not what I'm coming for. But I'm coming for someone who will communicate, share share with me, let me know, let me not be in the dark. If there is maybe we have financial issues for this and this and this, I'm okay knowing, rather than you tell me, lower your expectations, this will not happen, without even explaining to me where I'm lowering.
I have austerity measures in the house.
Yes. No, don't be toxic here, coming home angry and then telling me I should understand that sometimes you get moods. That's not how it works. The most important thing is I will lower my expectations to a certain level. But if it's in a level whereby it becomes toxic, that's not even a happy marriage. It's not even a marriage. So what are we doing?
But Maria, you know me, I'm speaking as a former Gen Z. We are told that we Gen Zs and millennials, we only fear marriage and a battery low.
It's true.
So Sasa, coming from that background, I would say in a way it's like I agree with Warren Buffett Kiasi in this way, lower your expectations. And I remember my English teacher who was my favorite even when I was in high school. She used to tell us, hope for the best. Lakini, prepare for the worst. And that's how now CEO's words come in a way that there could be eventualities that would come. And then again, me, whenever I hear these stories of marriage, I think that people idolize people so much that you cannot even hope that kakitu kabaya kanaweza, something bad can happen. And also, I also think that gives you the ability to forgive easily, because you'll know that hii kitu tu inaweza happen, mtu anaweza kudanganya kiasi, so ni kama tu you have prepared, it's a mindset in a way. But when you come with this pedestal, imefika huku juu, utakuwa everyday ni conflict resolution, dispute resolution, nyumba yako itakuwa inakaa judiciary juu ulikuwa na vitu za huku juu. So me in my view, I feel it helps with peace of mind. It helps with you knowing that huyo mtu si ati ata solve all the problems, but anaweza kuwa, there is room for mistake, and probably
there's always room for mistake. And we always say that men have a bigger room for mistake than women. That's a fact. Actually, women don't have any room for mistakes. Men have a bigger room for mistakes. And that's why you'll see that for men, we should lower our expectations. Try telling them to lower their expectations on you. And that's when utaambiwa rudi kwenu mume wako akufunza vizuri. It happens.
No,
it's different for women.
No, it's not different. It's just the realities on the ground.
You see? Told you.
It is not different. It's what you anticipate to. Listen, you cannot have most of the things men do. For example, is that, and this is an old school kind of situation, is a man has to provide. Number one, the biggest thing is a man has to provide. And men carry a lot of traumas which you do not even know. That man, and there's a day I was seated with a guy, the wife is saying, send me 200 shillings. That time the man has nothing, because the money he had he has left at home. He's not been paid for some time. But kids have to eat, people have to go to school and all that. So these men carry a lot of trauma old school wise. They want to provide for you. They will never, there's no single man who will come Maria to your house and tell you, today I had a very good day. The guy will struggle, your husband will struggle out there to make sure that you look nice, the kids are fed, they've gone to school, even if you're working.
Yeah.
And beyond that, these men still have to care about their mothers at home, their fathers. There are also their relatives in the home, your relatives at home. So this man carries a lot. And there's also those development projects he has to do. Because women would not expect a man 10 years later, hana kashamba amenunua. You'll be wondering, hey, so what is the plan? Where are we going? So men carry a lot of things, and that's why people mistake that for them to have a room for mistake, because they're doing a lot of other things. They will make so many mistakes on the way because they're trying. It's a trial and error. You try, unanua shamba hapa unagongwa, unarudi, you are stressed. You don't want to tell your wife that ile pesa imeenda. You come home, you would have even paid school fees. That money you put in land imepotea. You're trying business to help you salvage. So you have, why people lower the expectation is because of there are many other things which happen or in their life that they cannot come and tell you. There are others who will even go, and some men would come home at late in the night, by the way, because they're going to try and get that deal over the line. I was with Robert Burale the other day on my live session, and there's a man who, and this is about lowering expectation. There's a guy who had a debt of 4 million shillings, and he had really done a lot of work. And the wife was still asking, so we are not leaving a good wife. So, and this thing happened up here in Kileleshwa not long ago. So that day he told the wife that, I don't feel like going to work today, you just go. But he was totally well dressed. Just go, I will just make myself a cup of tea, and when you'll get me back when you come back. So when the wife went to work, the man came, washed the jiko, cooked a cup of tea, gave the watchman in the gate some tea, put that jiko in the bedroom and closed the door. But before that, he wrote a suicide note and said, I have a debt of 4 million shillings. I don't know how I'll pay it. And this thing has been bothering me. And you always wonder why I'm low. But he had done a lot of supplies. So when the woman came in the evening, the door is locked. So the bedroom door, so they had to break it down. And found the man perfectly dressed but dead. And a suicide note and the jiko which had gone off. And was saying that it's because of this 4 million that I've killed myself.
But isn't marriage supposed to be a partnership where you share?
Listen, so what happened is that what the man didn't know, 2 days later, all his payments came, and do you know how much came into his account? 7 million.
Okay, what?
In 2 days, that 7 million, he didn't know, but he had done a lot of work. So 7 million came in, but he was dead. They used it to bury him. So that's why I say people must lower their expectations sometimes. Because if you don't lower your expectation, if this woman would have found out why is this guy behaving like this,
It would have been easier.
it would have been easier.
Yeah, but then again, see, let me just throw the spanner into there and ask, do things go wrong in marriage or they start wrong?
They start wrong.
Because, like, from the context you're building or the examples you've given us, it seems like in that creation is that the breadwinner is the man. So if that is how things have started with the wife, with the woman, then if things were to start right, then the question should be, now that you don't have a skill, you're not employed, you don't have an income generating project, the practical steps are what? If you don't have a skill, you get a skill. If you don't have work, you get work. If the question is, are we working from having a household that is 2 income or 1 income household? But you see now, in that case then, those are the real conversations.
And how are we managing our finances?
Yeah. But then again, I notice that whenever I hear families, I have relatives, wakiongea hizo mambo za relationships, alcohol, sijui smoking, then I'm like, even when you guys were dating, mtu alikuwa anakunywa. So if you didn't want to be
married to a smoker,
or a drunkard, that then if that is what is bothering you the most, then you should not have proceeded, because things they will almost go negatively.
But you know, most of the time where that happens is you find yourself in marriage. There's the situation where you find yourself in marriage, whereby, oh, we were dating, I'm pregnant, now we have to be married. They like shock kind of marriage, because like you find like someone like me, before I got married, my very brutal husband actually told me this: I don't want a housewife. So mentally, I knew from the beginning what I'm walking into. I'm walking into a place whereby he expects me to work. He expects me to empower myself. He expects to see some productivity in me. So because of that, even when it comes to other things that you're doing, you do it as a team, because now this is something that pre-marriage you made it clear, so that I don't walk in there and then you're like, there me, I'm telling myself, I'll never employ anyone, take care of my children, I'm staying home. Then you come and shock me with, I don't want you home. You see, there is that shock that happens. So if I have never, if when we were dating, you didn't know how I made my money, what I was doing, then now we are married, you don't expect me to start telling you how I make my money. You don't. It's me. This is me, the me that you found. And actually, let me tell you something. Once they settle and then they are relaxed and now they're in marriage now, tunasukuma hii kitu, that is when they remember, nilizaliwa hivyo phrase comes. When you are dating, you will not hear that phrase. When you get into marriage, nilizaliwa hivyo. And you have to accept, because
even though watu wa kwetu wanakuanga, watu wetu wanakuanga hivyo.
Yes. Even ndio kwetu tuko, uliza hata brother yangu. Now will you be calling the brother?
And then also, Maria, I also noticed that kwa hizo two stories, the things you're saying, I feel like we are also, even now that we are lowering expectations to the bare minimum, even people should have very serious conversations before dating.
Yes.
Beyond the very surface that I like a dark girl who is short, I like a tall guy who is short. Maybe that one has a date problems and a betting problem and an addiction of betting and doing those funny trades on the internet. So I feel like serious conversation should be, even before we know each other well, I ask you, wewe uko na loan? Unaweza kwa tu na loan, like hizo mashida zake ni debt za kuanzia.
Weird enough, ukiniambia uko na loan na unionyeshe how you survive with that loan, because you know the people who have strategies, you know the people who are growing wealth with loans.
Of course, that's a positive attribute.
That's a positive attribute. I don't want you to be telling me that you are downloading apps every day for money that you don't know where you are taking. But there are people who are growing wealth with loans. Of course. Also another thing, like, okay, me, I was so into the knowing your family background so much. Like, there are things that you can just learn by just even digging deep about the family background, so that you don't go there and get shocked. But people are getting shocked every day. Do you know there is someone who heard that you've been married for someone for 10 years, but he has another family, and you've been with that person for 10 years. But Maria, not knowing that wewe ndio mpango wa kando, that's even worse.
Maria, just say that kuna watu wanajikutanga kwa marriage. Unajua kujikuta, it's like nika accident. Nika vile mtu uvunjika mguu akitrip hapa. Like ni kujikuta tu, there was no, and most of African communities. You see
during the honeymoon stage, like we are dating, then all of a sudden he's throwing words out there, I'm looking for a wife, he's throwing words out there. You don't get a time to sit down and reflect. There are a lot of people who don't. And then if you have issues of low self-esteem, especially with ladies, I always repeat this. If you have issues with low self-esteem, you'll always believe every I love you is genuine. And that's a problem. So you walk into it and then all of a sudden, you did not sit down to discuss your prospects with this man, like this and this and this. Like, I would openly say, before you even get married, this I can't tolerate. Yes, because I want to be open so that you can walk out today before I get in. Right now, I'm 6 years later. I shouldn't be complaining about things that I'm saying that I don't want them. Yeah.
You see, Maria, it is very good, but women will always know the man they'll get married to.
Yeah, true.
Even if you tell them, and I will tell you, even if you tell that man is a drunkard, and they do not walk in there until they don't know, they know. Most of these women you see getting married to abusive husbands, they've been abused in that relationship.
In dating. Like I was dating a man, I can't sleep.
They've been slapped, they've been beaten in the clubs, yet they end up married. It is how people are wired.
It's actually a gender issue. You see, women are nurtured or socialized to be caring.
Yes.
Nurturing.
And accept slaps.
Accepting. More or less, like, even when girls are young, it's like you can tell even how they are growing. Girls are supposed to be careful, always take care of others. So you feel like you can use your nurturing nature to
change
stop
him.
A drunkard
or to
from
change.
drinking and harassing and embarrassing you in the...
Okay, let me make something clear, people. You cannot change a human being. They change by themselves.
They could also change for the worse, actually.
Yeah. But most of the time, actually, they change for the worse. Guys, please read Marriage is a Scam. Most of the time, you cannot change a human being. It's either you are accepting the situation, or you are taking it as it is, or you are just there waiting for the worst to happen. But you're not there telling yourself that I'm going to pray for you until drunkenness go away. Utaishi kanisa.
Maria, you know, let me shock you. There are men who started drinking when they're 50. What do you do with such a man?
When they're 50?
Yes.
You are old, relax.
And I'm telling you because we've seen. There's a friend of mine.
This is what I'll do to such a man. Don't call me evil. I will take him to a hospital and tell the doctor, tell him this will kill him very soon. Yes.
No,
I have to help you because now you are 50, you are not a child, I can't tell you. And you are old. So I'll just help you. Tell him this alcohol is started, is destroying him. Yeah, I'll find a way to just stop you. But because in your 50 doesn't mean that you agree with it. It means you just started. So
Yes.
I can get the doctor to stop you.
So what I'm trying to say is that people can change. So lower your
To the worst. You see,
expectations.
CEO, the example you've given is to the worst.
Yes.
You've not given to the best.
I've given-
Like him giving his life to Christ at 50.
At 50, that is normal.
That is normal. He knows where he's going.
Yes.
But the one that...
That is very normal. That's why, because when people get older, grow older, they always change for the better. They stop drinking, they stop smoking, they know they have health issues, and they know that they're trying to correct their mistakes. But there are people on the flip side. And one of them was my friend who started drinking at 50.
You know, there's drinking and then there's drinking.
Heavy, I'm saying heavy.
Okay.
At 50.
At 50.
You know, there's something that will always kill a man.
Huh? Not a woman. Maria, what do you want to kill men with?
Everyone is picking their poison.
Actually, yeah.
Everyone is picking their poison.
Their poison.
Yeah.
So what would you happen if your husband starts drinking at 50?
I will just tell the doctor, by 50 you've made money. Doctor, please tell him he'll die. This is something good. I'm helping him.
I might add that men don't like going to the hospital. So good luck with getting him from home
To the
going
hospital?
to the hospital before you even talk
Come
with the doctor.
on, one rotten food and food poisoning and we are good. No. Let's not scare Mr. Nation, but don't drink. So anyway, but yeah, just find a way to get him to the hospital. Stomach upset, you don't have a choice. Yes, run. There are things...
I think it has been very interesting conversation. Women have said they will not lower their expectation, but I will tell you, please try and lower expectation.
And
in
men
life.
change.
And that men will change sometimes to the worse, a few to the better, and people have issues to deal with. Just know which issue you want to deal with in a relationship. It has been a wonderful night today where we had Wanja here giving us nice contribution, and of course Maria. Let's be real. Keep watching.